Episode 9.
Thanks for listening to today's show. We really appreciate you. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show so that you don't miss an episode, and to help make sure that others don't miss the boat.
Welcome to the Telltale Fisherman podcast, where avid anglers share the story of their best fishing day ever to inspire yours. Now it's time for another epic adventure. So here's your host, John Woodson.
All right, welcome to the show. Today's guest is Mitch Todd. Mitch, welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks, John. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
So Mitch is the pastor of River Run Church in East Orlando, which happens to be the church I go to. So Mitch is not only my pastor, but as I've found out recently, he's also an avid angler. That's been exciting to learn.
Yeah, we went fishing together the other day. It was a fantastic day out, and we had a great time. So
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, and I foresee more trips in our future.
Yeah, I hope so.
Definitely, if we ever get past all the rain we're having right now.
I know.
But, so just tell us what it's like, kind of a day in the life of a pastor.
Well, we're a little bit different church, as you know, at River Run. Kind of a church for people that have kind of given up on church, and so it's kind of neat. You know, my role, particularly at the church, is I do kind of three things. I do leadership development, and I prepare and speak vision casting for services, and then we are really involved in networking other churches together that are kind of like-minded. So this is just kind of one big cause. We're not competing against other churches around our area. We're really trying to network churches to make a difference in the community and just love our neighbors, honestly.
Right. Well, it's a cool mission, and it's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so you came to Orlando to start River Run from Kentucky, right?
Yeah, so my wife and I and our two little toddler kids, we kind of just sold everything in Lexington, Kentucky area, and moved down here in 1998 to start River Run.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's been a long time.
And I take it that's where you started fishing and got your love for fishing?
Well, I was thinking about this knowing I was going to be on your show, and, I don't remember a time that I wasn't fishing. So my dad and my grandfather, they instilled these kind of three values to me. They said work hard and play hard and pray hard.
Right.
And so that was kind of our thing. I grew up that way, and so I grew up on a farm in Kentucky, and we worked. Man, did we work, But we played equally as hard, and we prayed really hard as well.
Right.
But the play part, it was almost exclusively, for probably 9 months out of the year, fishing. That was our play. And the only time it wasn't fishing was when it was hunting.
Hunting
and it was
season,
too cold and the water was, either frozen over or something. So fishing was our primary. Hunting was just kind of waiting until it got warm enough to fish. So I grew up fishing. In fact, one of my favorite stories, and that my family still makes fun of me to this day, is I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and I think I maybe vaguely remember it, although it could be that the story's just been told for so long that I think I remember it. Mm-hmm. My grandfather rigged me up this great pole for me as a 5 or 6 year old, and he got it all set for me, and he said he goes, all right, throw it in. And so I did. I threw the whole thing, I threw the whole thing in, and they had to fish it out. I think they found it, but for forever after that, I always got the crappie poles. I got the crappie poles till I was able to buy one on my own. And so they still talk about. When I fish with my cousins, even to this day, they'll go, throw it in, Mitchell. And so that was. But I grew up fishing like that. I did every kind of fishing you can imagine, from catfishing, all night long through the night, propping our poles up on tin cans, and so if we got a bite, it would knock us over and wake us up.
Cool.
So we did everything. We would fish for everything you can possibly imagine that's freshwater. Everything that's freshwater in Kentucky. It was just so much fun. So many great memories. But that's what brought us together, actually. So that's why I'm glad you're doing this show, even because I think just really, promoting fishing among our youth today. And everybody, I think that's part of the balance of life, So work hard, play hard. For us, that was fishing. and pray hard.
Yeah, and it's the memories that families are built around, like that story you're talking about with throwing the pole in, and that's something you and your family remember forever. It's such vivid, lasting
It's
memories.
kind of stuck with me for 49 years now.
Right.
But yeah, it is. And I've had some incredible fishing days, since my childhood, where I've caught a lot of fish. But I think the memories of the fishing trips that I went on with my family were just still far surpass any amount of fish that it wasn't even about fishing. It wasn't about catching fish. It was about coming together and going out and enjoying nature and fishing and doing that with the people that you love.
Yep. Although catching fish is a nice cherry on the top.
Catching fish is the icing on the cake. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So had a lot of great freshwater experience, obviously, up there in Kentucky. But when you moved down here, you switched over to saltwater, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like we had 4 fish in Kentucky? I mean, we had bass, crappie, bluegill, and smallmouth bass. I mean, we moved down here and it's like, what is this? I mean, what is this? We're catching stuff left and right. And I became a fan of saltwater fishing. I just absolutely love it. And backwater, or shallow water, I should say, fishing really became my favorite. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. In fact, I kind of hung up my poles from freshwater fishing until just recently. Well, thanks to you, actually. And so, I fell in love with saltwater fishing.
Yeah, and did a little bit of tournament saltwater fishing.
Yeah,
right?
I had a guy that he needed a partner, and he was desperate. And so he asked me to join him for the IFA tournament. Although my claim to fame is that I still helped us come into 18th place out of 135 boats in the IFA tournament, where I caught the biggest redfish for the day. Nice. And I think that fish, brought us like $600 that day. So it was a blast. I totally got lucky. He was so much better fisherman than I am, but I got to fish in the IFA. I can say literally, I am a professional fisherman. I actually made money catching fish one day, even though I think you still help me tie on my bait from time to time.
Hey, if you get the fish to the boat, that's what counts.
That's right.
So, awesome. Well, when we get back, Mitch is going to share a story of epic inshore saltwater fishing. Stay tuned. Here's a tip for you about sunscreen. I noticed that many of my shirts that I use for fishing were getting nasty rust-colored stains on them around the hand and neck areas. Unfortunately, it would not wash out no matter what I tried, and we all know those pretty fishing shirts are not cheap. As it turns out, that staining is caused by an additive which is in many sunscreens, especially the spray-on kinds that I used to use most often. Thankfully, there is a brand of sunscreen that is specially formulated without that additive. So now, the only marks on my shirts and my pictures are the good kind, fish slime. Check out our gear page by typing in tel.fish/gear in your web browser. We have a link to this sunscreen for you there. All right, we're back with Mitch Todd now. So we were just talking about saltwater fishing a little bit, and the story you're going to tell us today is exactly that, right? An inshore story?
Yeah. So my buddy, Joe Gumble, he's the one that asked me to fish with him in the IFA tournament. And he's a captain, he's like really far better fisherman than I am. And he had a boat, he had a flats boat, like 16-foot flats boat. And he's a captain. Man, this guy knows fishing. He's a guide. He knows fishing. And we decided, this has been several years ago, we decided to go to the Keys for Thanksgiving with our families and do a fishing trip. So we took the boat down there. We got the cheapest hotel. It looked great on the internet, kind of a thing. When we got there, there's no beach, which there's not many beaches in the Keys.
Right.
We found out. It was one of our first trips to the Keys. We got down there, and our families were like, this is where we're staying, and then while Joe and I go out and fish all day. So
yes.
The first 2 days out, man, we got skunked. I don't think we caught a single fish. I mean, we're not amateurs here. We're in the IFA. We've been fishing all of our lives, and we just got skunked. And the weather, it was so windy, and the waves were choppy. We almost swamped the boat twice. I mean, we were just really working hard to get this 16-foot flats boat back to the dock. And we were so frustrated. And it's Thanksgiving weekend, and we'd gone all the way down there. And so we both just said, and again, this guy's a guide. He's a captain of boat. We both looked at each other and said, let's hire a guide. We don't know what we're doing down here. Let's hire a guide. And so we did. We went out on Thanksgiving weekend and found this guy. and he's like 40 years old. He's not an old man, you know, but he's about 40 years old. And this guy took us out. The tides were just right because where we went, where he took us, we drove his flats boat back up into the Everglades. Mm-hmm. So we were down in the Keys and we went back up north.
Yeah, how many miles
sort of
north
northwest? I don't know how many miles it was, but it was like a 45 to an hour ride, full blast.
Okay.
And the thing was that you had to go on high tide. You couldn't get to where we were going on low tide. And so he took off on this thing, and it was like there's thousands and thousands of little islands and everything, and he knew the exact path to get to where we were going, you know. And there were a few times the jack plate had to come up, and we skinnied through the water, and it was fun just getting there, you know.
Right.
And then we get there and we're on this flats boat, and this guy, like, we're in the middle of nowhere after riding for an hour, and he knew where every little nook and cranny was, every tree branch, every island. He would come over here and he'd say, "All right, guys, just flip your bait right over there underneath that what do you call those trees?
The mangroves?
Mangroves, yeah. Yeah, just toss right underneath that mangrove over there, and you're gonna pull out a big snook." And sure enough, I mean, it was just crazy. We'd throw over there and we'd hammer this 10-pound, 8-pound snook or something. It was just crazy, you know.
Wow.
And I'm like looking like, did he plant these fish here? You know, it was just crazy.
There's pets.
We caught so many fish that day. That was one of those days on flats fishing that, you know, over in Mosquito Lagoon where we fish on my side of Orlando, it's a great day when we land 15 redfish. I mean, if we land 15 redfish, that's a really good day.
Oh, yeah.
I was happy with 4 or 5, you know, but if we land 15... Now, there's not a lot of redfish down in the Keys. A lot of black drum, jack crevalles are everywhere, and snook, but we just slayed the fish that day. We probably, and I don't want to exaggerate, although I'm a pastor, so I'm known to exaggerate.
It comes with the territory,
it comes
right?
with the job, you know. But man, we caught. I would, if I'm just guessing, we probably caught 200 fish that day, almost 100 apiece. I mean, it was just crazy.
Wow.
And this guy that was our guide and the captain of this boat, he's baiting our hook as fast as we can catch fish, taking the fish off of Joe's pole and baiting mine, taking it up, you know, baiting Joe's, putting it on. It was just crazy. I've never seen anything. We caught, you know, every species that you can imagine, from bonefish to jack crevalles. We caught a junior Goliath grouper. Wow. And it was so much fun. In fact, I've been on deep water trips or offshore fishing before, where, you know, we've done bottom fishing and caught amberjack and grouper, to where I've been so tired I've had to take a break before, you know, but never off of light tackle in backwater have I ever been so tired of fishing. And I just actually was tired. I was exhausted from catching so many fish. Yeah. We caught jack crevalles. I mean, obviously we don't.
They fight hard.
But they fight hard.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. My one story that I really like is towards the end of the day, and probably 50% of the fish were the jacks.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the day, I'm right on the bow of the boat and really low in the front, and I catch and I hook this jack crevalle, and I get him like 5 feet from the boat and getting ready to pull him out just like normal, all these other, and then all of a sudden this big lemon shark, I believe it was a lemon shark, I don't know for sure, but it was a big shark, and this thing must have been 10, 11, 12 feet long, and we're in 3 feet of water, you know, we're not in like, and he just comes up and he surfaces and rolls on the water and just grabs my fish and just keeps on going. I didn't even feel it. I mean, I didn't even hook him or snag him. He just took my fish, bait, hook, leader, everything, just took it and rolled it. I looked back at Joe and the captain, and I was just like, I think we're going to need a bigger boat. You know? That was so much fun, though. But that was probably, as far as catching the most fish on a day, that by far surpassed any other trip that I've ever been on. And I've caught a lot of fish on a lot of trips, but that one to me is just a great, great memory of catching fish.
And so you were back in there way back in the mangroves, and there were no other boats around?
Oh, I bet we didn't see another person for the whole day we were out there. I don't think. Wow. I bet we didn't see another person.
That's incredible.
Only when we got near coming back and when we were going. I can't remember the guy's name, but I could track it down for you. You know, we can post it on the site somehow. I could track that guy's name down.
Yeah,
who he was. If you guys end up going down to the Keys, if he's still there, I mean, that guy was the bomb for a guide. I mean, it was awesome.
Evidently, yeah.
It was really good.
That's pretty amazing. So you were live baiting the whole time?
Yeah, well, I'd say live bait was 75% of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, we were there to catch fish that day. By that time, we were there to catch fish. Most of the time, and of course, in the IFA,
It's all artificial.
It's all artificial, and
Yeah.
so we were gulp people. We used the gulp baits, Texas rig, and all that. And although you've given me some new things, this chatterbait, man, this chatterbait, I'm gonna.
Shh, it's a secret.
Oh,
No,
is it?
I'm
Is it?
just kidding. Just kidding.
So I'm like, after we went the other day, I'm like going, I'm getting a chatterbait.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all it was all live bait for that day.
Right.
And I think we tossed maybe for an hour or something that day. We probably threw some artificial out there. Oh, topwater though. We did do topwater first thing in the morning. Of course, that's just
my favorite.
I love
Yeah.
topwater is my absolute favorite, and
You can't beat it.
You can't. So my problem is just getting up early enough to do topwater.
Yeah. Absolutely. So do you think it would have made that much difference, live bait versus lures that day? I mean, were the fish just that on, or would it have not been as good?
I think we caught more because of live bait. I mean,
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I don't really know, but I tell you, the reason we caught so many fish that day is this guide just knew where the fish were. I mean, that's just the difference between what happened the 2 days before this trip and the was just all in the guide. I mean, the guide knew what he was doing. I've guided people before. I had my 16-foot scout boat. I've told you about my scout boat that I had. I love that flats boat. But I've never been able to guide people and put them on the fish like this guy. I'm telling you what, he was awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. So I guess you guys got wore out and said time to go back. And
Yeah, we fished the whole day, and he took us back, and then we didn't keep it. Most of everything we do is catch and release, but
right.
But we wanted our wives who'd been back at this just terrible little hotel that we had rented. I mean, there were scorpions. They were. I mean, it was just terrible. Just this terrible internet hotel, and that we found, and the pictures looked great. But we thought we got to come back with something,
right?
So we brought a couple snook back and maybe a couple black drums. We caught a lot of black drums that day. And we took back enough to put them on the grill that night and have a dinner. I think that was our Thanksgiving dinner or something, or the day after Thanksgiving or something like that weekend. But by far, out of all my fishing trips, that was the most memorable trip in terms of catching the most fish and the most variety of fish too.
Yeah, wow. Boy, you're making me want to pack up the truck and head down to the Everglades and give that a go. I may need to find the guy.
Yeah, we'll have
first.
to find that guy. I'm sure Joe's got his number. We could track him down, but man, and you just let me know when you want to go. And
you wouldn't mind doing that again?
I wouldn't mind doing that again at all. That was great.
I don't blame you a bit. Well, Mitch, thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show. This is awesome.
Please be sure to follow the Telltale Fisherman on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You'll get sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, notices of new episodes as they go live, and pictures from some of the most epic fishing adventures ever. Check the show notes for details. Thanks!
This has been the Telltale Fisherman Podcast. Thanks for sharing another great tale with us. Be sure to check out the show notes page for more info on today's show and the gear we talked about. Keep those lines tight, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Telltale Fisherman Podcast.